We are talking Florida Gators here on Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, with David Waters from Gators Breakdown. So just look it up. It's on YouTube, all the audio platforms. Gators Breakdown. Love the new logo too, Dave. Looks great.
Oh yeah. Thank you much. Thank you much.
Looks beautiful on the hat there. So you mentioned the lack of offense since going back to 2009. That last trip to the SEC championship game with the hopes of winning a national championship at that point. Feleipe Franks, I've seen you mention on Twitter a number of times that this guy's the starting quarterback right now. Now, at 4 wins last year and a 54% passer with 9 TDs and 8 picks, I don't necessarily know if Gator fans want to hear that, but what are you throwing that on in regards to Franks being the starter, and what kind of odds do you give him keeping that job until September?
I definitely give him the edge based on the experience of last year, and I keep bringing this up as well. You know, if we as fans and analysts who want to sit there and look at the job Jim McElwain and Dustin Nussmeier didn't do, and how, you know, we say that they were coaches and it looks like they just ended up being not made out for the job that is Florida, then who's to say that it can't be, you know, they held Feleipe Franks back to a certain degree. And we know Dan Mullen's history. We know his history of developing quarterbacks. We know his history of developing quarterbacks that didn't come out highly touted out of high school. So, you know, you would have to think there wouldn't be a better coach that Feleipe Franks could get with and try to fix his game. And, you know, there was times last year he started the Michigan game, got pulled that game, played a couple more games, and then again, the Kentucky game gets pulled. Luke Del Rio comes in and saves the team. Luke Del Rio gets hurt. You insert Feleipe Franks again. And you fast forward to the rest of later in the season, he gets pulled. Malik Zaire is the quarterback. Malik Zaire gets injured. Feleipe Franks is back in. So, you know, it was a yo-yo effect last year. And there are some things, you know, we can point to. He's got the arm strength, and, you know, he needs to improve his accuracy. You know, Dan Mullen really preaches that how his quarterback, he needs his quarterback to be accurate more so than have the big arm. And you know, this offense really sets up well for him. It's a lot more pre-snap reads instead of the pro style post-snap reads. And, you know, I just really think, you know, he's got enough mobility as well to help his game. And I don't think he's going to run 20, 25 times a game like we saw Tim Tebow and Dak Prescott under Dan Mullen. But he doesn't have to. He's got enough running ability to keep some defenses honest. He's fast enough to keep some defenses honest. And that's all he needs to do. So he's got a stable running back he'll be able to lean on, led by Jordan Scarlett. So, you know, that I think there are enough pieces around him. There's a system in place for him to have some success. You know, and if he can't get it done with Dan Mullen, I'm not sure he'll ever get it done.
So with the quarterback battle still being in play, Franks has the lead. Can you kind of give us the landscape of the other guys and what they bring to the table?
Yeah, Kyle Trask is going to be the number 2 right now. He was a 2-star recruit that Jim McElwain brought in. And, you know, there's some, you know, a little bit of fans who would like to see something from Kyle Trask because they don't believe what they've already seen from Feleipe Franks will be enough. And I know he was one main reason he was a 2-star recruit coming out of high school is because I forget the kid's name. I believe he's the quarterback at Houston now. That was the starter at his high school. He didn't transfer, so he sat on the bench. He didn't really he didn't play. So he camped at Florida. Coaches were impressed with him. He got a scholarship offer. We've seen him in a couple spring games so far, and he's looked pretty good in those spring games. But, you know, those are spring games, you know, and we know how those go. So there's we saw Luke Del Rio go 13 for 14 in one spring game, I believe, and got fans excited for no reason. So, you know, I don't want to go too much based on spring games, but he has looked pretty accurate as well since spring practice has started. And of course, you have the highly touted freshman Emory Jones, the big recruit that Dan Mullen got. Dual threat quarterback who seems to be the ideal fit for what Dan Mullen wants to do on offense. And, you know, he's made some plays with his legs so far. Florida just had a practice today on this Thursday, and it looked like they said this was his best practice by far throwing the ball. He looked more accurate than he has previously. And, you know, he struggled in that aspect, but you expect to as a true freshman coming in, not being perfect, as you would say right away. So, and those are the main competition. Jake Allen's is on the roster as well at quarterback. He's struggled much, but he had a better day on this Thursday as well. So, you know, we'll see, but it's going to be, you know, Feleipe Franks with a lead on those guys. I do think you'll see Emory Jones play no matter what this coming up year. Look for him to maybe have a package to get his feet wet. A lot of Gator fans go back to that 2006 year where Florida had Chris Leak and Tim Tebow come off the bench to convert some 3rd and shorts and some 4th and shorts. You might see Emory Jones in that type of role, but I do think it would be nice if Florida could start blowing out teams again to get some big leads, and you can insert the true freshman and get him some experience before next year.